how are you? Sean Ferrick here for Trek Culture, and it's that time of the week again, you know, where I sit here and I beg you for likes and for subscriptions, because it's what I do. It's not a pretty job, but by God, I commit to the part. As I checked this morning, we are at 248,000 subscribers, which means we're this close to 250, so please keep liking, keep sharing, particularly keep sharing, because it's not just about hitting the 250 subscribers. Thank you so much to everyone who subscribes. It's also particularly this series of videos. Prodigy is getting better and better and better, and I just want to make sure that everybody is watching this show because it's so much fun. I mean, today alone, I get to talk about like 5 different genres in one 20-minute episode. And that's something that I can have so much fun with in Prodigy that I haven't really been able to do in a lot of the other ones. Yes, I know Lower Decks has played with it, and I know, we'll get to it. Thank you so much to everyone who is sharing these videos. It does not go unnoticed, and we really, really appreciate it. So look, thank you very much. Now, wherever you are in the world, potentially wrap a scarf around you. As I record this, it's -1 Celsius here in Ireland, so that's fun. Star Trek Prodigy, Season 1, Episode 17, Ghost in the Machine. Now, we open up this week and the Protostar is trying to escape Romulan factions who are chasing them from behind. The Dauntless is right there in front of them. They're firing torpedoes. I mean, the Protostar is firing back, which is, you know, I can understand. When you're up against a wall, you kind of have to push back. That's fair enough. And you're kind of thinking like, oh, crud, we've missed a little bit of narrative here, haven't we? Because, you know, the last thing we knew, Janeway was getting Kirk food on the Dauntless. Like, oh no. So they talk about how they're trying to escape the neutral zone, which lets us know they're still in the neutral zone. So that was something I was wondering about. And, you know, they try everything. They try firing in Morse code over the bow of the Dauntless. There's phasers firing, everything. It's a really action-packed beginning. Naturally, it's all on the holodeck. I'm actually fine with this. Now, there was a moment this morning where if you listened really closely, Jankum says, maybe 87th times the charm, because of course they're trying to run the simulations as to how best to communicate their position to the Dauntless without infecting the Dauntless with the living construct, because, you know, bad. So they're trying all of these different ideas, and Jankum reveals 86 times they have not managed to communicate, or they've not managed to get their point across, and, you know, it's not good. It's almost like another test that's run in Starfleet Academy. And yeah, as I say, this morning, if you listened really, really closely, you might have heard like a roar and the sounds of crashing. And that was Chris tossing his Mac across the room because he thought he was going to hear those 2 words that are just immediately his activation sound for his inner Hulk. But no, they do not talk about the Kobayashi Maru. And even more so, there is still hope when they say maybe 87 times the charm. I like that. We've got optimism going, so I really hope that Mac had insurance, Chris. That's the main thing. They're trying to figure out a way of communicating their position to Starfleet without communicating with Starfleet. I love that even though, okay, we haven't seen the other 86 attempts or the other 85 attempts, it does mean they are trying to run through. They're not just like, oh, this doesn't work, we should leave now. Because that would be silly and annoying and bad writing. I appreciate that a lot. So I did very much enjoy where we go in the very beginning of this episode. I'm going to make a statement, but I'm going to then explain my statement, all right? This episode was filler. But. Episode 17, you've got, you know, the return of Dreadnought, you've got the Diviner's getting his memory back, you've got Janeway's been knocked out on the Dauntless, you've got this massive threat of the fact that if the Protostar makes contact with any Federation starship, it's going to be the end of Starfleet, you know, it's everything. And we stop to figure out how the holodeck works. I'm dialing up the kind of the fun of that there, because it's a bit like, oh, do we have time for this? It of course plays into the larger arc, and I was just sitting there going like, I just like this episode. It's important as well because we've seen the holodeck so far on Prodigy. We saw it in the episode Kobayashi. Yeah, that's Chris's keyboard gone there as well. They do know about the existence of the holodeck. We've seen it used before. And I do enjoy it a lot. It's a much, much lighter episode than it has been over the last few. And it does, but I suppose my hesitation is, could this have come a bit earlier in the season? You know what I mean? Because we have so much fun. I mean, I love the little vignettes we get in this episode. Maybe the best way to describe it is that, one, I'm never bloody satisfied. So there we are. Sorry. Two, I love how lighthearted this was. And I think that ties into 3 for episode 17. I'm like, okay, maybe that, maybe that's a little bit of an earlier one. I hope I've explained my filler proviso enough that I don't suddenly get Dreadnought rising behind me. I should probably start giving some ups and downs, shouldn't I? So my first up of the episode is going to Hologram Janeway, and it's for something she says just as that first simulation ends. What's not present today may present itself tomorrow. And I thought that was a lovely sentiment. I really, really liked that. That idea, isn't it? It's just keep going. Don't think that just because you didn't get the answer straight away, you should give up. I think it sums up the fact they've tried 86 times at this projection. I really, really enjoy that. A statement is made here that, as we know, will come back in the end of the episode rather a lot. Gwyn asks the question, which is a completely fair question. Should we really be trying to contact the Federation at all? I mean, we are sitting on what could potentially be a nuclear bomb, and we are really putting a lot of faith into the fact that Federation can somehow deactivate this device. I think it's a very fair question. I think it was an inevitable question, and I am glad to see that there was a contingency put in place for this question. We seemingly exit the holodeck, and everyone kind of goes about their business. Dal goes to his quarters, and also, I mean, like, I love about 17 episodes in, and Dal is in the presidential suite, whereas everyone else is on bunk beds. And to that I say, don't hate the player, hate the game. He says lights out, and he passes out on the ridiculously large bed, and he hears music being played. Computer, deactivate music. Nothing. And then we get this bit where we pan past the bunk bed rooms, and there is Gwyn doing chin-ups with her programmable matter heirloom. Gwyn is such more of a badass than I am. I mean, I once tried to do a chin-up, yeah, broke my door frame. And then behind her walks what is later revealed to be a Tellarite pirate. That's unusual. And then we see what is effectively a little Pokemon sitting there on the floor. Now, this becomes, as we find out, this is one of Rok-Tok's holograms from one of her programs. Zero is the one that pretty much gets, hold on, we're still in the holodeck, aren't we? So they are. They never left the holodeck. They can't access the controls. They can't access the arch. They are able to communicate with Hologram Janeway, who is outside going, oh yeah, okay, no, this is not right. I'm going to try and give you a bit of a dig out here. Zero figures that what they should do is play the game. So they go through a door and they suddenly find themselves in front of a lighthouse. And it's very spooky and it's very kind of ghost story, and I am totally here for it. Really, really love this bit of the story. They go in and it's the cellar door society, and I love it. And straight away I'm thinking Sherlock Holmes, I'm thinking Cluedo, I'm thinking Agatha Christie. I'm loving all of this stuff. And Zero's like, oh, we need to find the clues and everything. They get letters through the door and they got to find the skeleton key. Okay, so I've played board games with a few groups of friends, and I know full well that they're going to identify so much. They're going to be like, Jankum Pog is Sean. Sean is Jankum Pog. I have been a little bit of a naysayer in the past. I was a slow convert to board games. I won't lie. But you see, I'm not much of a gamer at all. So that is my defense for that one, right? So I identified a lot with Jankum in this. But you also can't be a party pooper. But you can't say these things. Sure, you can think them, but you can't say these things. So Zero, in their voice, turns around and says, they don't use these exact words. I'm going to paraphrase. Jankum, shut the hell up and play the game, you little dick. Of course, they don't use that actual terminology, but, you get the idea. They discover that they've got to find this secret skeleton key. And suddenly, they discover that they're in some sort of Street Fighter game. Now, this bit, I was like, okay, I like this bit a bit more. They've got a biker gang of Tellarites. I love this. And of course, Jankum's like, yeah, don't worry, I'll look after this. Hi, Dugan! Oh my god, I really enjoyed this bit. No, this one was good fun. And Jankum is there, and he is absolutely wailing on these Tellarites for a couple of moments. And then, of course, the inevitable question comes up. I wonder if the safety protocols are still on. Did anyone even question whether the safety protocols were still on? Anyone at all? No? Yes? No? I didn't. I was like, of course they're off. They're stuck in the holodeck. Have you ever been stuck in the holodeck and it's been a good time for everyone? Yeah? No. So Jankum gets an absolute kick in the face, goes flying backwards, and it's like, oh, that hurt. And Jankum loses a tooth. Tellarite meanies. The whole group kind of pitches in to help once they realize, oh, we need to help. And they do manage to take down the final Tellarite, who has a big tattoo of a skeleton key on his chest. And then everything changes to black and white, and massive up from me is Tellarite Noir. I didn't know how much I needed this. I needed this. Tellarite Noir is now my favorite genre ever. They walk in and it's the 40s and everyone's in their gangster outfits and it's a kids show, so nobody's smoking. Fair enough. Tellarites in those hats. Didn't know I needed that in my life. I need that in my life. Everyone kind of breaks up a little bit to try and find this key. Up Murph. So after this episode aired, I went to the internet, as I want to do, and I then discovered that this clip apparently was released the other day. I didn't see this. So I just got the biggest surprise of my life when Murph hops up on stage and starts lip-syncing along to Troy Klein's Smile and Forget It. This was very nearly my Latinum Up of the episode, okay? So if anyone was thinking, that's John's Latinum Up, you're not necessarily wrong. I have, my Latinum Up is coming, but this was so close. And it was just, and I love the fact that Zero stands there and comments, he's very good at, perfect lip sync, yeah. I just love it. And Murph just commits. I love that this is Murph's hologram program. Anyway, the rest are wandering throughout the room. Jankum manages to get on the wrong side of some Tellarite gangsters by taking their briefcase full of latinum off them. Jankum, was that smart? I do not think so. Now, meanwhile, Gwyn, listen, I'm not gonna lie, I completely identified with Gwyn as she just heads up to the bar. So Gwyn goes up there, and now, you can see straight away, Gwyn is obviously kind of looking down, but we can see it's the diviner. The diviner turns around, and it's very much a kind of a, hey, why the long face, or, things like that. And Gwyn's like, right, okay, I wasn't expecting that. But as she correctly identifies, like, well, hang on, all the holodeck programs are merging together. She is a holodeck program of the diviner. Makes perfect sense. So they kind of talk, and it's probably the nicest we've ever seen the designer. It's probably the nicest we've ever seen the diviner be. She orders a Jumja tea, and they're kind of chatting a little. Probably the nicest conversation they're ever gonna have. And so you kind of get a little kind of a, oh, what could have been? In the confines of it being a holodeck program, in the confines of it being, having a chat with her incredibly abusive father, it's probably as nice a scene as we're going to see those two characters have. So for that alone, I was like, oh, I like that. I like that. That was good. Now, of course, they got to get out of Dodge, so Rock Talk correctly hears that one of the keys on the piano is not doing the right thing. She's like, oh, hang on, there's a key missing there. And so they run up and they shove the pianist off the piano and they lift the broken key, and suddenly there is a trap door. And considering all these Tellarites are coming to Godfather them, that's how I'm going to describe it, they're like, bye, down the piano they go, and suddenly we're on, Pirates of the Caribbean. That's what I love about this. It just changes genre so fast. You've got, detective, beginning of what seems to be a very Sherlock Holmes story. Then you've got Street Fighter. Then you've got noir. And now we're, swashbuckling adventure on the high seas. I love this. I absolutely love it. And keep in mind, 20 minutes long episode. This is being handled brilliantly. And so, Dal's like, yeah, okay, this is mine. This is mine. Of course it is. Dal wants to be, a captain of the high seas. And he says, crew that respects me. Yeah, okay. Yeah, listen. Okay, cool. We start to, run through the same kind of motions here. And we're like, okay, we got to find the key. And then they come to this realization that maybe they shouldn't keep going for clues. they start to figure stuff out. Before all that, we get the ship starts to be rocked from back and forth, and they're like, oh no, what's happening, what's happening? And one of the Tellarite crew bravely stands up and says, I'll go overboard to check, and dives off the edge of the boat up. I properly snorted my coffee this morning. That was brilliant. Water starts to spill onto the ship, and we get the reveal of, you know, it's gonna be the Kraken, it's gonna be the Kraken. No, it's Rok-Tok's Pokemon from earlier, who's just huge, because this is Rok-Tok's program is merging with Dal's program, Rok-Tok's Delta Heart Hospital. Now, we come to it at last. Before I do this next thing, a lot of people will know that I am a massive fan of the long-running medical drama ER. And I love seeing hospital dramas. I was a fan of Grey's Anatomy, you know, things like that as well. So, a very personal down from me this week is that we didn't go to Delta Heart Hospital. You got all the others and you're giving out about that one? Yeah. Yeah. I want a sequel set in Delta Heart Hospital. Rok-Tok figures very quickly how to deal with this thing. You know, she feeds it, it's happy, it goes away. But unfortunately, the boat is still capsizing. Oh no, we're in trouble, we're in trouble. There is another down in this scene, I'm afraid, because Zero says, we're taking on water. And the old Dal comes out. Zero says, we really taking on water? Dal goes, wow, you really are a detective. Really? Is this the time? I'll sit down. The realization comes that, as I say, they should stop looking for clues and stop, you know, kind of moving forward, because one character has been outside of all of this and they begin to figure it out. Hologram Janeway is not as much their friend this week. A more experienced crew clearly would have seen this coming. You know, they're only kids. Dal foolishly gave Hologram Janeway his command code earlier in the episode. When has revealing your command code ever ended well in Star Trek? You know, but again, of course, they're kids. They might not know this, but yeah, Hologram Janeway's got the command codes now. So once Hologram Janeway gets that, doesn't, you know, do whatever you want in the hologram program, because now Hologram Janeway, unfortunately, it is a symptom of a secret program that was added to Hologram Janeway, that if the question, should we even go to the Federation, is ever asked, this will kick in to make sure the Protostar completes its mission. It is a proper, oh crap moment of the episode, and I have to say, it was very well revealed. It was good. I thought this was really, really well handled. The clues were there throughout the episode of, you know, Janeway wasn't actually trying to help. She was only stalling them. And of course, once they get out of the holodeck and they get up to the bridge, what do they see in front of them? The Dauntless. Because they've left the neutral zone. And poor Janeway, you can see, like, your heart breaks for her because she didn't know what she was doing. This was a secret subroutine, and this is, basically she was the Manchurian candidate this week. It was a great bait and switch ending, I have to say now. That was good. Before we move on, I have to say my final up of the week has to go to Nami Melamed. The music this week was just another level. From all of the different tones for each of the different genres, particularly, I particularly loved the bit in the high seas, but also even going into the end credits, which has got a really, really Voyager opening credits feel to it. My Latinum up is absolutely the music of Nami Melamed, particularly this week, really overall, but particularly this week. Just, it had to be said, it was incredible. I thought this was a really, really good episode. I do stand by that. It was a little bit filler, but I'm just being spoiled. I totally appreciate that. And I have a funny one now. Come with me to the cetacean observations. For what's going to be a really short cetacean observations this week. We really don't have very much. We get a shout out to Romulan factions closing in. We also, you know, the neutral zone, but does that really count? count, I guess. You know, we get a reference to, you know, they explain the holodeck, how it creates depth. That feels to me like a callback to Encounter at Farpoint, where Data shows Riker that we're in a forest. Actually, the wall's right there. Just Tellarite Street Fighter, just hilarious. We get a Jumja tea. That's a callback to, you know, all the Jumja sticks and everything from Bajor. Briefcase full of latinum. We got Federation logos on the bottles behind the diviner in the bar. That's kind of it. I thought this really worked well as an episode. I really enjoyed it. I think, you know, apart of course, from that big reveal at the end, I'd say you could probably watch it really at any point in the season. I just thought it was really good. And now we are kicking into the last 3 episodes of the season. There is a teaser trailer out there online. Have a look for it if you can find it. I'm not entirely sure if it was meant to be released or not, but it's out there. And if that's anything to go by, we're going to have a bloody good few weeks of Prodigy left. So look, thank you very much everyone for watching. Please remember, like, share and subscribe. We're this close to 250 and we've got a lovely, lovely surprise for you at 250. So anyway, everyone, remember, you can follow us on Trek Culture and on Twitter. You can follow us at Trek Culture YT on Instagram. You can get myself at Sean Ferrick on Twitter. You can get myself at Sean Ferrick on TikTok as well, where I'm doing the daily advent calendar reveal for Star Trek's Eaglemoss. I'm over on Instagram at Sean.Ferrick88, and you can catch Chris at EditChrisEdit on Twitter and Instagram as well. Yous are all awesome. Thank you so much. Our friends in Ukraine, I can't believe we're nearly finishing this year and it's still happening. You are incredible. Please, please continue your struggle. Our friends in Iran, our hearts are with you. And to those protesting in China as well, our thoughts are with you. Everyone, look after yourselves until I see you again. Make sure that you live long and prosper. Have a wonderful weekend. Make it so.